Hello, faggot lovers everywhere. I've a message for you from
Hans-Peter Schwanzlutscher. Hello, this is Hans speaking. This is the video. Hello, this is Hans speaking. This is the video you've all been waiting for. What you are about to hear is my final call into the Ark. After that one, I got banned and they never let me back onto the show, even though I tried almost every single time. I really did not feel like making this video because it means goodbye after all those years. I believe I've started calling into the Jesus chat line back in summer 2012. It was a crazy time. I had recently graduated, but I also lost my job. Because of this, I had time on my hand. I had time on my hands. Yeah, never mind. Jesus chat line would always chat line because the guys chat. Okay, too many puns in a row, but chat. Never mind. Jesus chat line would always air at like 5 a.m. German time. Yeah, to finally answer that one and confirm it, something many have been wondering for many years. I am indeed German, and not some American putting on a fake German accent. But, I've once been a German putting on a fake American accent, which I was quite proud of. The taking a knee call. Link in the description. I don't know, maybe. So I was still living at my parents', about to move out, when I was calling into Jesus chat line, and I did my calls at 5 a.m. when my parents were sleeping. And I was always afraid of waking them up. And I was always afraid of waking them up and my father walking in when I was on the air and being like, what the fuck is going on here? Go to bed. Maybe I should have done that one in a German accent, I don't know. Was the fick is going on here? Go to bed. Maybe that is better. Luckily, that never happened. But of course, my parents were like, why the fuck do you stay up until like 6 a.m.? What is wrong with you? Like they wouldn't know. I mean, I'm their child after all. Go figure. When the Ark had its great comeback, Richard also has a great comeback, as in gay people come on his back, Anyway, when the Ark had its great comeback, I had already moved out years ago, but my girlfriend was still But my girlfriend was sleeping next to me while I was doing my stupid calls once again at 5 a.m. And I was trying to be funny, but I also did not want to wake her up at the same time because I had my computer next to the bed. I got banned from the Ark, and just 1 week later I moved into a bigger place with my own man cave and workroom, or study as they call it in English. Where I had planned to call into the show and be as loud as I wanted without having to worry about waking up anyone. But hey, that's just my luck. This never came into fruition. I had already imagined myself calling into the show in that room when we were looking for a new place, but nope, just my luck. What the fuck is going on? I don't know. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, it is me again. In order to understand my call, the one I got banned for, you need to know a little backstory. Richard Burnish does not do much behind the scenes of his show. He talks to people on the phone and that is it. He doesn't care about his Discord and he also has no time to admin it. So there's this little simp and fanboy called Blackcool or Blackcool. Blackcool? I have no idea. Or however you pronounce his name. I will just refer to him as Blackcool. So Blackcool created Richard's Discord channel and admins it. He also created every Jesus Shed line and the Arc-related subreddit and admins those. Basically, there's no way around that guy because he created everything and admins everything. And if he hates you, you are kind of fucked. And the dude hates the guts out of me. And Richard needs him because that dude keeps his community running, which brings him money. The Jesus laundering scheme, money laundering scheme. He also screens every call and puts the call through. He's also responsible for putting text messages. Which cost money, through, and those pictures people could send in. He allows those, and boy, he allowed a bunch of really offensive pictures, like Holocaust pictures and jokes about Jews dying in concentration camps, stuff I personally find to be offensive. Keep that in mind, because this is about double standards. I mean, keep in mind that he allows those pictures, and not keep in mind that I get offended by that. But you can just keep anything in mind. There won't be a quiz at the end, but just keep it in mind. So one time I was active in his Discord channel and I do not even remember the exact conversation, but it was something like, and I repeat, I really do not remember what exactly was said by other people, but I remember what I have said. So someone said something like, Americans love guns. Maybe he also said Brits all have bad teeth. I don't recall, but it was something like that. And I replied, which was also in the I don't recall, but it was something like that. And I replied, which was also intended as a joke. You cannot generalize a group of people. That is kind of racist. That is like saying every crowd loves beer or every gook loves rice. And bam, I got kicked from the Discord for saying gook, a slur against Asians. I got kicked from the Discord for saying gook, a slur against. I got kicked from the Discord for saying gook, a slur against Asian people. Were like, oh no. I got kicked from the Discord for saying gook, a slur against Asians. People in the Discord were like, where did Hans go? Did he get kicked? Friends who were in the Discord would show me screenshots of what was going on. And yeah, he kicked me because he does not allow racism in the Discord. Completely missing the point. First of all, he banned me for saying gook, while using a swear word or slur for Germans. Crowds did not tick him off at all. Using a slur for Germans was okay for him, which is such a double standard thing. I mean, he does not even know if I'm Asian or not. Also, Jesus Shetland was always a joke show where people dropped the N-bomb constantly. Also, the dude completely missed the point of what I had said. I said you cannot generalize a group of people because that is racist. And just because people are Americans doesn't mean they all only live off of hamburgers or something. And I used offensive swear words as a joke because I was making a point against racism. But yeah, that totally flew over the guy's head and I was kicked from the Discord. People complained and it was just a ban for a few days. So after a few days, I was allowed back into the Discord. I kept a low profile and would not interact much with the Discord. You might not know this. You might not know this about me, but I'm also an artist. The Ark and Jesus Shed line is something that makes me proud, because I have accomplished something with it. I have made people laugh, I managed to entertain people. And that feels like an achievement. I've used to draw and people like my art. I've used to make games and people enjoyed my games. I even had some viral hit with one of my shitty games back when Flash games were still a thing. I've used to make Flash animations and people laughed about my crap, so I feel good that I also managed to entertain people with stupid phone calls. I did on the fly in a language that isn't even my native language. So why do I mention this? Because I was still in the Discord and looking at some of my old art and having some chuckles. So I posted one of my drawings in the Ark Discord and also wrote something like, I hope this isn't offensive. But actually, Black who saw the drawing of a black guy and 2 Asian chicks is super offensive and reason enough to ban me for good. Yep, that silliest drawing made the dude ban me. Just look at it. Nobody's naked, no offensive pose or anything. The dude that allows actual Holocaust concentration camp photos on the show thinks those are funny, actually thinks that this drawing is offensive. But I believe I could have basically said or done anything and it would have only been a matter of time until the dude would kick me. I mean, he just used it as an excuse because seriously, what is offensive about that drawing? So I was gone, kicked from the Discord, and I think by that time the dude already filtered out what I would write on Reddit. Like, back then I could just post anything and it would be instantly up. But now if I were to post something on Reddit, it would be pending until an admin, aka Black Cool, would approve it, and sometimes he would not. So the dude had a massive hate boner for me. I messaged him and was like, what the fuck, dude? Jesus Shed line was always a joke show. So get that stick out of your ass and learn to take a joke. Once again, those were not my exact words, but I said something along those lines. A day later, I saw that he had sent me like 5 messages, but I did not bother to read them instantly. When I wanted to read them, the messages were gone and I could also not reply to him because he had blocked me. So the admin behind all the Ark-related stuff blocked me from the server, wrote me some whiny messages, which he later deleted, and also blocked me so that I could not reply to him anymore. Just nice. I have to admit that I remember that I also talked to him when I got blocked for saying gook. And he also said that, yeah, this word is so offensive, and he never mentioned crowd. So I know that he found gook to be offensive. And he was like, yeah, you will be banned for a few days now, just deal with it. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, there have always been N-words in the Ark and stuff. And he was like, yeah, but, I mean, in Jesus Shed line. And he was like, yeah, but the Ark is different. There won't be any N-words anymore. We don't do that. We don't allow this racist shit and we won't tolerate it. And so on. I was like, it's just a joke, dude. And he's like, no, we have a strict policy here. This will be a clean show. And I was like, but this is not what the show ever stood for. Just something that I reminded myself of. So, yeah, just nice. And whenever someone would ask about Hans in the Discord, he would delete it. I mean, you can try to ask about Hans in the Discord now. Good luck with that one. So that is my backstory with Black Cool, the admin, the guy who hated me. And now I present to you the call you've all been waiting for. So that was my call. What did you think? That was the Nintendo Direct. What do you think? I called Black Cool out for being shit and gave him silly names. It was just silly names. Nothing super offensive like shouting fuck that guy or some other offensive stuff. But it was enough to get me perma-banned from the show. That was it. You can see the call made Richard quite uncomfortable. You know, at the beginning of this video, right at the introduction, which I had planned for almost 2 years now, because I've been banned since September 2020, I wanted to say that I want to thank Richard for everything. And despite me getting banned from the show, I hold nothing against him. But that is not true. He's a fucking douchebag who exploits people many times. No, he's a fucking douchebag who exploits people, and many times I have thought that it is a crying shame that Steven had to die and the one guy bit the dust. That is harsh, but hey, I wrote this. Steven was a creative person who always came up with new characters, while Richard Burnish always did, well, Richard Burnish, and not howling ass trucker, whatever. And all the other stuff. But I can tell you that I fell for him. Like, I always liked him. And yeah, I openly admit that I was like, what the fuck when he banned me. I'm even shadow banned on the YouTube channel, so I cannot comment on any of the videos. It's insane. After supporting the show for so many years, I used to think Richard is a cool guy and wanted to be friends with him. But he never really cared about people. He did his show and that was it. Steven would chill with his fans and we would do movie nights together where we would stream movies like Master of Disguise. I referenced it in one of my calls, but it did not make Richard laugh. Or the movie Boss N-Word. I'm not sure if I can say that on YouTube. So yeah, my idea or hope was it to have some silly calls with Richard. So yeah, my idea or hope was it to have some silly calls with Richard in the show, like once a month, make people laugh, and everyone is just having a good time. That is all I've asked for. I think what really helped the Jesus Chat line and the arc were those compilation videos by Cool Junk Productions. Instead of having to watch an entire show with a bunch of lame calls or not so funny moments, Cool Junk would edit videos with the best parts, and you had some comedy gold on your hand. On your hands. Yeah, that joke never gets old. Of course, that was super time consuming. It would draw awareness to Jesus Chat line and the arc and get new viewers. Once Richard started making money with the arc, Cool Junk approached him and was like, dude, editing your 3-hour-long shows takes quite some time. Can you give me some of your money? And Richard was like, lol, no. What a dick, seriously. I actually had a lot planned for the future. I mean, I'm kind of grateful Jesus Chatline came back. Just called The Ark now. I had made my calls back in 2012 when most of the current fans were still kids, which explains why a lot of the fan base sucks. And that was it. Jesus Chatline had ended and I thought, and that was it. Jesus Chatline had ended and I thought that was a chapter of my life that is now over. It was fun, but sadly Steven passed away. Steven and Richard never got together again for reasons. And like I said, that was it. Then suddenly, 8 freaking years later, there's a comeback and they find out because Richard traces me down on Reddit and sends me APM. I believe this is how it went. So I saw that was super cool. Heck, there was already a comeback planned in like 2014 or something called To Hell and Back. And once again, Richard approached me. He knew that I'm an artist and asked me if I can do some art for that show, which I did.
I always contributed stuff and really wanted to help the dude out because I thought the stuff was hilarious and I liked helping out and being a part of it. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm doing this in one sitting without any breaks. I didn't drink anything yet, and where I'm currently at, they don't have any water. They don't even have tap water. So yeah, this is kind of hard on me, but I'm doing my best because I want you to know all this shit. But I digress. So it was 2020, it was COVID, and suddenly the arc was back, and once again, I could be Hans. But I could be even more. I could create new characters. And boy, that was so much fun. I had worked many years on a Dutch accent, and I was proud that I had finally gotten it right, especially in English. I mean, it took me a bunch of years to get a Dutch accent right in German, but I was not able to translate the Dutch accent speaking German to a Dutch accent speaking English. It is way trickier than you might think. Like, I'm a German who speaks English that tries to sound like a Dutch guy that actually speaks English, and I have to hide my own German accent, but still speak in a foreign language, that one being English. That is quite some inception shit. What is funny? I tested my Dutch. What is funny? What is funny? I tested my Dutch accent on a bunch of Americans, and they were like, "This sounds like Scottish," and I was so pissed off about it. But then I was like, how much contact do you Americans even have with Dutch? They don't even know what Dutch accent sounds like. So I tested it on Dutch people, and they all loved it and fell for it. Heck, some even asked me if I'm Dutch, so that was the biggest compliment ever. Oh, fuck, I just heard some feedback through the headphones. So I hope I didn't just fuck up the audio, because there's no way in hell that I will do this recording again. This is like a one-time thingy. But I'm doing this for you guys and girls. But guys can also be female. Crazy English language. So I actually had a Hans story arc planned. I had so many ideas I could not use. Really sad. Richard Burnish had the veggie mobile truck. My plan was it to be like, "Oh, Richard, your veggie mobile truck inspired me so much that I'm doing the same thing now. I bought an old Volkswagen van, one of those hippie buses." I think you would call them van in English and not bus, but I'm not exactly sure. And now I'm selling my sausages to everyone who wants my meat. I call it Wurstwagen. And at this point, I have to say that I'm wondering if Americans would have understood the Wurstwagen joke. I've heard Americans do not know the German word Wurst, which means sausage. They will know what breads are, but Bratwurst, or just saying Wurst might fly over their heads. And we will never know. Maybe some American can let me know if they know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. So Hans, I will switch to the Hans voice. So Hans-Peter would have his Wurstwagen and drive around delivering Wurst. And you have to remember, he was still on the run and hiding from the Vatican, because he was behind WatiLeaks, where he leaked documents from the Vatican, like the Pope wearing pantyhose and strappings and whatnot. I also had the character of some Italian guy who sadly bombed. I had some plans with him. Anyway, as it turns out, that Italian guy was working for the Vatican and looking for Hans all over Europe, trying to track him down, and then he finally found him and lured Hans into a trap by ordering some of his sausages. Da da da! Fuck, I just heard a peak again. I'm sorry for the ear rape. Doesn't matter. Had sex. So Hans would drive there and the Italian would knock him unconscious, just for Hans to wake up again in some hostel-like torture room. And the phone would still be on, so that Richard could hear what happens. Two people who mess with the Pope. So now I would either let Hans die, or Hans gets rescued by the Dutch guy. Or actually, Hans is just schizophrenic and none of those characters really exist and they are all just in Hans' head. I think the last option, the Fight Club way, was actually the ending I wanted to do, but I have to admit I cannot really remember too well after 2 years. I had this planned, but I did not write it down anywhere and I never had a chance to do my epic call, which is kinda funny, because I wanted to do the offensive black cool call where I already knew it would get me into trouble and then I would kill off Hans or do my great finale. After the black cool call, I also asked Richard if he was okay with it and we had this conversation. People even asked for me. You know, it's actually easier if I do the Hans voice. People even ask for me and what happened to me, and this is what Richard said. If anyone asks about me in the Discord, it will instantly get deleted. Ja. That was my cock, which I just stroked. I have to admit, after I got banned, I tried to call in again. Every single show. And I think they knew, since I'm not American, it is expensive for me to call an American phone number. Richard would be so nice and let me call via Skype. I was the only person who would call via Skype. But after the black hole call, he would never be on Skype again, ever, or he had blocked me from it. I don't know. It is weird and sad because he was not honest with me. He said he would be on Skype again and everything seemed dandy and fine, and then he just ghosted me after all those years instead of being brutally honest and being like, you know, fuck you. That joke sucked. But seriously, some jokes backfire. It is still a joke show and it is sad that after all these years that call ruined it. Because I still do not think it is super offensive and some people should be able to take a joke about themselves. Heck, I made a joke about nickname. Oh, this is what I meant. I don't know why I wrote nickname there. Heck, I made a joke about black cool, some made up name I don't even know how to properly pronounce. Still, the Ark and Jesus Chatline mean a lot to me. I have met one of my best... still the Ark and Jesus Chatline mean a lot to me. I have met one of my best friends through the Ark. Hi Julian, was geht? I have met other really nice and cool folks through the show, like Cool Junk Productions, who is indeed a cool guy. And he has a cool junk as well, but that is confidential. Oh, ich sterbe. Alter, ey, wie lange denn noch? Ich hab Durst. Es ist spät und ich nehme so eine Kacke auf. Nun ja. But I've also met people that quickly faded away again, which is kind of sad. Maybe the saying is true, never meet your heroes. There was this British guy who was all into Russian and Soviet military. And he was a big fan for years and was so thrilled to be talking to me after all those years. And I really liked that dude. Talking to him was fun, but we would talk about normal stuff. And at some point he was just like, nah. Tuna. Same happened with some guy from Portugal. He all voices. he was also a cool and fun guy to talk to, and he was half German, so he would understand German jokes I would hide or smuggle inside my calls, just like I would put some Dutch jokes in my Dutch calls. Only Dutch people really understand. He was also impressed he finally got to talk to me. And he had some cool idea for a call. He wanted to be a detective guy, I remember. But he never made it on the air, and then he lost interest in the arc and said, most calls are lame. And then we also stopped talking, so I believe, like the character of Hans. So I believe he liked the character of Hans, but seeing me as a normal human being, they are like, nah, ik wil niet. Nee, ik wil niet klootzak, nee, echt niet. And I have to admit that this is actually, I have to admit that this is actually, it hurts like fuck. It also hurts like fuck that my fucking phone autocorrected the fuck out of the fucking stuff that I actually wrote correctly. Like, what the fuck? I'm standing in a sound booth, and I wrote this entire script on my phone. No, I'm standing in a sound booth, and I wrote this entire script on my laptop. And then I emailed it to myself, so I'm reading it off from my phone. And my phone already autocorrected stuff, which is super annoying to read. But as you can hear now, I'm talking way more freely because I'm not reading off from a phone screen, while also trying to stand correctly in front of a microphone with the noise cancelling. I don't know how the fuck you call it in English. The filter thingy, so they are not the noise. And I'm kind of trying to see through there and holding my phone, and it's kind of uncomfortable, which explains why I'm reading like a fucking retard and why I'm talking way better now. But I couldn't freestyle this entire video. I freestyled my calls, if you can if you notice the difference. But this time I apologize. I am reading a script. But still, I have to admit that it really hurts like fuck. Because I've liked those people and I like talking to them. And then they just disappear. Same goes for people I've met through Jesus Chatline. I met a bunch of nice and interesting people that way. But then the conversation ended and that was it for like 8 years. And suddenly, when the arc came around, all of those people were back again and talked to me again. And I was like, where the fuck have you been those past 8 years? And I remember this British guy living in Australia with his Asian girlfriend, and we suddenly talked again after all those years, and we became pretty good and close friends, talking all day for like 4 months. And suddenly he was gone as well again. So people come and go, and that really sucks, I have to admit. I had actually planned this whole last episode totally differently. Like, I had sentences and phrases and the structure in my head, but I was like, fuck it. You have to sit down and finally record this because people want to know. I really tried to get back on the air. I've called every show since I got banned in September 2020. And, those shows would last 3 hours and I would call like 60 times or something. Sometimes I got into the waiting line and I would wait for like 1 or 2 hours until they would kick me from the line. I even talked to Blackcool, who calls the screens, and I could have used the opportunity to talk to him, but I wouldn't know what to say to him that I have not already said. That he should lighten up and learn how to take a joke or not be so easily butthurt. I wanted to talk to Richard, so I don't know if he recognized me when I talked to him. Blackcool, that is. I only managed to talk to him like 2 or 3 times max in those 2 years, when he tried to put me through. And I just said my name, not Hans, and not much else, so he recognize me, but of course a non-American number would be a dead giveaway. You know, you call in and he's like, "Hello, welcome to the Ark. I like sucking dick. Nom, 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 nom. So why are you calling?" "I want to talk to Richard." "Oh, okay, what is your name?" "Bill." "Okay, then I will. Those testicles taste quite delicious indeed. Now please come in my throat. I want a throat pie." So this is how it basically goes. Yeah, I don't know what fucking part I was reading, and there's no way I will edit it. So enjoy yourself listening to all this quip. So yeah, you know, a non-American number would be a dead giveaway. It was not a German number, but I doubt he knows what a German number even looks like. All he saw was that it was a foreign number, and reason enough to not let me through. What would I have? What would? I will do the Hans. You like the Hans? Yes, you like the Hans? Yes, okay. Then I will do the Hans. Yes. Where am I now with my text? Oh, what would I have said if I had managed to get on the air? I would have just wished everyone goodbye and wanted to thank everyone for the support, and that I am glad that I managed to make them laugh. And that would be it. I would have hung up then, letting people know that I did it for them. First, I would have thought that I would thank Richard for all the fun time. But basically, he's the one who broke up with me, and he has the power to let me on the show or not, and he does not do so. No. So why should I thank him for this kind of attitude? I just would have wanted to thank all of the fans, you guys out there. The people who are still listening to this crap and did not turn this video off after they saw the call and got disappointed because it's so fucking lame. I do apologize, it is lame. Like, I mean, getting banned for this shitty call, that was like the worst call that I did. But hey, I got to call cool black stool, and I made some poop jokes. So that is something I put on my German to-do list, poop jokes, you know. Toilet humor, the German kind of entertainment. You know, I did a lot of Jesus Chatline and the Ark. No. You know, I did a lot for Jesus Chatline and the Ark. It was a creative outlet. I did a bunch of stuff in Photoshop back in the day. Like those pictures you are seeing now. I also did some animation for GCL, which they never showed, thanks for nothing. I also did some stuff for the Ark, and Witcher was like, "Ho, ho, 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 that is so great, I will use that." He never used it. I will never understand why he was such a lying cunt. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. I've heard Canadians are always polite and super friendly. While I can assure you that Germans are brutally honest and direct, so you always know what is up instead of hiding behind fake friendliness. Foreigners could think this is rude, but it is just direct, really. So yeah, I always wish he would have used the stuff I've made for the show, like he said he would, but nope. Overall, I want to thank you guys for all the support. If you want to get in touch, I've made a Discord channel where you can find me and other nice folks. If you know any other show where I could call in, please let me know. Hans-Peter Schwanzlutscher isn't dead yet. He's alive and kicking, but kinda homeless. So if you know some call-in show or maybe some Twitch stream where I could call in, I will do it if I can think of something funny. And if it's fun, I do not want to be mean or insult people. Just some light-hearted fun for the caller and the person who is being called. Some people have suggested that I should do my own call-in show, but that won't work. That is also the problem with the Ark and Richard's weakness, besides his tiny dick, which is enjoyed by Black Cool. Richard isn't really funny. The callers are funny. So if the callers suck, Richard is kinda fucked. And as a host, you do not really have that much control or power over the jokes. After all, someone calls you and you can only react. So what he says, the caller have some great setup and wild story, and all you can do is react. I don't know where to get anyone from who could call in. And I just don't see how it should work. I'm good at coming up with my own stories and messing with people. If the places are switched, I think it just won't be good. So, those are all my thoughts on the Jesus Shetline and the Ark. It was a lot of fun while it lasted. I really enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the community. It was great to be creative and come up with new characters. Making Richard Crunch was always a great achievement. I don't know what else to say. Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen. Euer Hans-Peter Schwanzlutscher, formerly known as Hanna Petra Mösenlecker, for a very short time. Goodbye and thanks for all the fish.
Let's go to our next call. Chad, if you can queue up our next one, please. Hello, caller. Hello, welcome to the show. You're live on the program on Montclair Public Access. Caller, go ahead. You're live on the air. I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. You're on the program.
Okay, hold on. I'm having a bit of a delay, but I think I can fix it. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, I hear you very loud and clear. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I haven't called in for a while because I was on the toilet.
You're on the toilet?
No, I haven't called in for a while because I was on the toilet.
Well, how long were you on the toilet for?
Oh, for a very long time, like I lost count, like weeks, I would say.
Are you sick?
Yeah, well, I ate normal stuff, like normal stuff everyone would eat. So I don't know why this even happened. I ate what everyone eats, like brawn in a speak jelly, saddle oyster, minced pork, Alaska pollock, pickled herring, ketchup chips, Calgary-style ginger beef, Jigs dinner, Naomi bar, fluffy ruffs, the usual stuff.
You say Calgary style?
Yes, Calgary-style ginger beef.
What is it? What's in a Calgary-style ginger beef?
Well, I would say there's ginger and beef and Calgary and style in it.
Sorry, I had there was something in my throat on that one. I wasn't sure what you mean. Is that like a Chinese dish? Is what that is?
No, I think it's Irish because Irish are ginger people. And I know what you're saying. Like, I know the bashing that gingers don't have souls. But I don't think that anyone has any beef with the ginger beef. So you shouldn't have any beef with gingers either.
Also, that wasn't like a number 52 or something like that.
No, I think it was number 69.
You said there was a number 69 on the menu. Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're feeling better now.
I've been having digestive problems, and I still have digestive problems. I can tell you, every day I wake up at 7 a.m., then I make toilet, and then I get out of bed at 9 a.m.
You make toilet at what time?
I make toilet at 7 a.m., and then I get out of bed at 9 a.m.
Well, hold on a minute here. How do you make toilet and then get out of bed 2 hours later?
Yeah, well, that's always a nasty mess. You know, I have a lot of cleaning to do, and my cleaning bill is very high already.
So why are
because
you
of
doing
this.
toilet in bath? Why are you doing toilet in the bed? That's that's gross.
Yeah, I just can't hold it in. You know, that is the thing. You know, I'm trying to hold it in, but it's like a force. It's like a force that has to come out, or I have no power over it. But I think this is what life is like. Sometimes you have no power over things.
Well, I can tell you that that's not what, like, I don't know, Chad, about you, but I don't know if my life is that isn't what life is like. I think that you've got maybe some sort of, something's wrong. Like maybe you should see a doctor about that, because that's, I mean.
But I mean, you are a religious man, and don't you think some things are like God's plan, and it has to happen, and you just have to accept it?
Yes. Yes.
And this is how I feel. I mean, the rest of the day I spent pretty much with scraping my guts out. You know, baking a big batch of. Yes.
They make types of pants where that are made for that type of mess. Why don't they give you maybe a pair of pants that has like some sort of like a sponge type thing in there?
Okay.
I'm not sure the brands of these pants. Chad, your mother has. Chad's mother has
but
them.
a sponge, Richard, a sponge won't help because it's way too much. You know, I'm baking a big batch of beautiful brownies, and I'm like a lumberjack that's getting not rid of a log, but I'm getting rid of the entire rainforest. So a sponge couldn't hold the entire rainforest coming out of my bottom.
So it's not so much liquid; it's more solid.
It's like a solid snake, a brown solid snake. And it's a liquid snake and a solid snake, a brown solid snake. But you know, I climb on my, yes, go ahead.
Do you realize then that you called you realize you called into like a TV show? This is like a live. There's literally thousands of people, millions of people watching all around the world right now. And they're watching this because I bring them the latest and greatest in Christian programming. And what do you think how do you think it looks for me to somebody like this call up and talk about things like this on this type of show?
Well, because I still have to get to my point, but I think it is God's plan. And this is why I'm calling to a religious show. Because I think it is a miracle. I mean, I can tell you about it. Like, I climb on my toilet, which I call Big Bock. And then I work as if I was a German sausage factory, creating one sausage after another. You know, my mom always told me that all things digested have a similar hue. But my stool is so black and it's super cool, like it's cold. Like, I call my poo black cool.
Black
and,
cool.
Yeah, black cool. Black cool is what I call my stool by now. Like I already have like a friendship with it, or it's like familiar, like it's a partner in my life that exists in my life. And like you give, you know, some people give things a name. Like they give their phone the name Cindy, and the computer is Bert, and whatnot. And I call my stool, I call it Black Cool, and my toilet is Big Bock.
This is very disgusting.
Well, no, it's nature. It's a natural thing.
Well, you're talking about log jams. You're talking about log jams and things like that. It's like
I don't know what log jam. I just know Pearl Jam. Is it the same? Like if it's tiny drops, is it Pearl Jam, and the big one is the log jam?
We're talking about logs being jammed on a Christian show.
No. It's not jammed. It's coming out. It's liquid, so okay, nothing is jammed in there. It's all.
This guy says Hans has so much hair, his dye comes out as filtered drinkable water. Nick just said that about you.
Yeah, you know, I had to poop for hours every day, and then until I stopped eating, but I would still continue to poop, and then at one point I realized it was a blessing in disguise, a godly miracle.
How can I help? How can I help here? I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for. I'm trying. I don't know if this. What can I? How can I help you?
Well, Richard, have you heard about Japanese Jesus?
Have I heard of Japanese Jesus? No, I haven't heard of Japanese.
Yeah, he's a bit like our Jesus. You know, he has also long hair, but it is a big spike and it goes all the way up because maybe China is upside down. And just like our Western Jesus died for us, the Korean Jesus also died for the people. You know, our Jesus took the sins from every man. And the Vietnamese Jesus asked the people of planet Earth to lend them their powers. His name was Kakarot, which is German and it means red poo. Kaka is poo and Rot means red. His Christian name is Son Goku. And I'm like Son Goku. I thought my digestive problems were a curse. But you know, just like Jesus would carry the sins of the people, I would carry the poo inside of me and poo it out for them every day. I endure sitting on my big box, creating black hole for everyone out there, so they don't have to do it again. It's starting again, Richard. It hurts. It hurts so much.
So hang up. Hang up. Sorry for everybody. For the, some of the. Wow. I think that. All right.